Old Roblox horror games. Yes, those ones which were released before 2019 or even earlier. Some of them are already known to you, but some of them were completely forgotten, or even lost in history. Today I will uncover the mysteries of the spooky Roblox games Iceberg. So, let's start. Alone in the Dark House. Alone in a Dark House is a single-player/multiplayer story-driven horror game taken in 1996, where you follow the story playing a detective who was assigned a case to solve a murder. While you and your co-workers investigate the abandoned house, it seems you are being watched, and eventually, you will be hunted out for blood. During the game, you will discover the dark secrets of the family while watching your very being. Eric killed his parents because of his not very good mental health. Bear Alpha. Bear Alpha is a multiplayer horror game where one of the players is a bear and others are survivors. During the gameplay, there are riddles and tasks all across the map. Survivors must solve them to escape. Bear must kill every survivor. The game has an official website with massive lore. Horror Elevator. The Horror Elevator was a horror game created by Zeus. It had 28 different floors, each with a horror-based theme. The developers involved with the experience are Xerxn, Icon Maker, Re_L, Trailer Maker, Maximum_ADHD, Brutes, A_Magician, and J9BRZS. Piggy. Piggy is a survival horror story game released in 2020 on Roblox by Minitoon. The objective of the game is to escape the map by finding and using keys, tools, and more, all while avoiding an evil anthropomorphic animal. It won multiple Bloxy Awards during the 8th Annual Bloxy Awards, including Game of the Year. Dead Silence. The story follows the discovery of the legend of Mary Shaw and has multiple endings. You have to make your way through the building in order to uncover its secrets, and your choices will affect your journey. Breaking Point. Breaking Point is a game which has a few game modes. I will explain the classic one. Classic game mode involves player being selected to kill any player, either publicly or privately. The gun may jam. Once two players are left, they must kill each other with knives. The Mirror. The Mirror is a psychological horror game in which staring at yourself for too long will lead to horrible consequences. And the scariest part, it is based off a real psychological phenomena. A Wolf or Other. A Wolf or Other is a classic survival horror game where you have to survive against a werewolf or kill it. The werewolf's goal is to kill all civilians and the hunter without dying. Zombie Attack. Zombie Attack is a game where you have to survive against waves of zombies. You only have a gun and a melee weapon, and sometimes zombies drop power-ups. Project Lazarus Zombies. Project Lazarus Zombies is a game inspired by Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies. The goal is simple: survive waves of zombies, unlock new rooms, and upgrade your weapon. Horror Tycoon. Basically, the objective of the game is to unlock all weapons and outfits of creepypastas in your Tycoon. Stop It Slender. Stop It Slender is a survival horror tag game created by Kinnis97. It is based on Garry's Mod's game mode, Stop It, Slender, and the popular game Slender, the 8 pages. One of the players gets randomly chosen as Slender Man and others are survivors. Survive the Killer. Survive the Killer is a game where one of the players gets chosen as a killer and others are survivors. Insane Elevator. Insane Elevator is a game where you enter an elevator that proceeds to take you to various levels. Each level has a killer. Horror Mansion. Horror Mansion is a game where you spawn in a mansion and you have to survive a killer for a period of time. You can buy items to make it much easier for you to survive. Nightmare Mine. Nightmare Mine is a story-based horror game that was released in 2021. But in 2023 the game was set to private access. And the reason was unknown. The Maze. The Maze is a game where you had to explore dangerous tunnels while also avoiding the monsters. And the goal is to survive as long as you can. The Mimic. The Mimic is a horror survival game based on Japanese culture. The game consists of 4 chapters, Book 1, and a side game, The Witch Trials. The lore of the game is about a witch that cursed your entire family and the journey you go through as you venture deeper into this demon world that mimics reality. Identity Fraud. A game about passing through the mazes. The mazes are very hard and there are special entities that can kill you. Saw. Saw is a horror game based off a horror film Saw. The mystery of the jigsaw killer, who tests his victims will to live by putting them through deadly games where they must inflict great physical pain upon themselves to survive. I See Death. I See Death is a horror game where main goal is to find all 8 keys on the map and don't get killed by monsters. There is also a 5-minute timer. If the timer runs out, you lose. Roblox Containment Breach. Roblox Containment Breach is a horror game based on SCP Containment Breach. On spawn you can choose a team from Class D to an SCP. Ready or Not. Unfortunately, I found nothing about the information of the game. Lloyd Residence. Lloyd Residence is a game where you spawn near a house which looks normal at first. But if you explore further, the house will show secrets. The True Backrooms. The True Backrooms is a weirdcore and dreamcore themed game which has over 15 levels. And the goal is to escape it without dying. Light Bulb Reillumination. Light Bulb Reillumination is a psychological top-down thriller game that represents nyctophobia, an extreme fear of dark places. It is a remaster of the original game, Light Bulb. The Missing. The Missing is about a 12-year-old friend who went missing. After a month you decide to go to his house to find more information about the disappearance. The game has Part 1 and Part 2. The Rake. The Rake is a survival horror game based on a legendary creepypasta, The Rake. The objective of the game was simple, to survive the night by avoiding the rake, and find loot. A few years later, it was renamed to The Rake Remastered. It Lurks. It Lurks is a story horror game. Everything begins as your father says that he is going out to buy some groceries and tells us to go to sleep in 10. Our brother's name is Grim. After 10 o'clock we go to sleep but there are strange and creepy things happening in your dream. Work From Home. Work From Home is a horror game with short story. You're working from home, an exorcism happened in a house a few days ago and it still scares you but everything seems alright lately. Creator of the game was inspired by their small apartment in Singapore and Islamic, Malay or Indonesian horror. Smile. Smile is a creepypasta about a user called Smile. This user seeks for players to make theme join a cursed game. In short about game's appearance, we spawn in a huge black box with no exit. In one of the corners we can see a big white head. It had a face, the face featured blooded eyes and a smile. If we come close to the head, it will follow our actions. But if we touch it, the game crashes. And it changes player's avatar permanently, similar to Smile. My Little Sunshine World. My Little Sunshine World is another creepypasta place. My Little Sunshine World features 2 separated maps. Once we spawn, we can see a statue of Caroline on a cross. If we touch the statue, we will get teleported to a second island with another rock statue of Caroline sitting near a pillar. The game might possibly be inside of Caroline's mind. Because the Spanish phrases, which are scattered around the map, prove this. For example, drowning out of the water, my blood is your blood, I've been 10 for 40 years. The Apartment. The Apartment is a short horror game in which our friend tells us to go to his apartment, room 705. Each floor we reach will get more and more abandoned, and finally, instead of room 705, we encounter a tall creature. School Story. School Story is a game about going through an abandoned school. There have been incidents, horrible stories. You decide to walk around the building and find out a truth about what's actually going on there. Facility. Facility is a Roblox game which was released in 2017. The game included a small facility map with a bunch of rooms. For example, shapes, 3D shapes, and a big office room. The game is popular for an unknown reason. There's no information on the game anywhere. Another thing, there is a button on right side of the screen. If we click it, the game passes will appear. A few game passes are related to marketplace items like hats and other accessories, but other game passes are files. It is still unknown what exactly are those files. For NN1's Place. For NN1's Place is another popular creepypasta place with a false appearance. Once joining, we see free models and bright pink colored models. But this place has a creepy backstory. For NN1 was born on February 18, 2006, and was 10 years old. She had an abusive relationship with her mother. She would always hurt Annie if she made a mistake. Annie once accidentally broke a plate, and as a punishment, her mother killed and fed Annie her dog. When Annie found out, she unsuccessfully tried to kill her mother. After her attempt, her mother locked Annie inside their house and burned it, killing 4NN1. Anopsia. Anopsia is a horror game where you can see only using sounds. The term anopsia means inability to use vision, or simply blindness. Ricky Rat. Ricky Rat is a survival horror game which has 3 chapters. There are weapons scattered around the map, and sometimes players have to solve puzzles to get them. Upgrade stations can upgrade the weapons. Rarely there are boss fights with robots or mutated creatures, which were created by Ricky Rat. Specimen 727. Specimen 727 is a story horror game in which you and your crew make an emergency landing at the closest space station. With no signal, you decide to look around and search for a fusion coil. As you progress, monsters will lurk around and try to kill you. Pinstripe Murders. Pinstripe Murders is a PlayStation 1 styled game about a clown slasher in a hotel. During the gameplay we encounter mutated creatures and abnormal places. No Players Online. No Players Online is a game which was based off an original PS1 styled horror, No Players Online. After a few months, the game was renamed to No Players Online 2. Fragmire Farm. You work for a fast food restaurant. You ran out of ingredients to make your meals. Your boss, who is known for being cheap, doesn't want to pay for more supplies, and sends you to the nearest farm to steal some produce. Little do you know, Fragmire Farm is well guarded with a dog and a farmer. Ingredients are lying around the map and you have to collect them before being spotted. Mannequins. Mannequins is a horror game where if you look away for a split second the mannequins will start moving. Jason decided to pull a prank on workers by posing all the mannequins in the room. Tony made a note saying that Jason pulled a prank once again, and if the mannequins move, he will feel more anxious. After we stop reading, the mannequins change poses. Venture 2. Venture 2 is an FPS science fiction horror where you wake up in a chaotic spaceship with noon alive around. But it seems that creatures roam around the spaceship. The game was made when the developer and his brothers were doing the contest to see who could make the best FPS space game before Christmas. Manager's Room. Manager's Room is a 2014 styled horror game with huge mazes and with Morse codes. Language of the game is Chinese but rarely changes to Japanese or English. That's all for today, part 2 will come out later. But for now, goodbye.